Using cutting-edge technology tools such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and others can provide incredible advantages for both industries, individuals, and society at large. From monitoring human health to eradicating tedious tasks, these technologies have the potential to revolutionize our lives and enable humans to devote more time to creativity and innovation. However, as these tools continue to advance and grow in their capabilities, it is essential to consider the ethical implications that arise from their use. In this episode, we'll be exploring the 5 key ethical principles that anyone working with emerging technologies should be aware of, as well as the challenges and solutions involved in implementing them. Whether you're a developer, a business owner, or simply a curious consumer, this discussion will provide valuable insights into the ethical landscape of technology and equip you with the knowledge to make responsible decisions. So sit back, relax, and join us as we delve into this fascinating and ever-evolving topic on the TechNet Show. You're listening to the TechNet Show, your weekly dose of the latest tech stories, analysis, interviews, and opportunities in the world of tech. If you're a techie or an enthusiast looking to stay up to date, this is the show for you. Be a part of the conversation and stay connected to our tech community on Telegram at TechNet Show. Hello, tech enthusiasts. Welcome to another informative episode on the TechNet Show. I'm Victoria Imeje, and I'm holding this down with my co-host Samuel Bassi. In this episode, we are looking at some ethical considerations surrounding the use of technology, such as autonomous weapons and AI-powered decision-making.
I will be sharing how to tackle some of these issues in order to ensure a safe space for everyone that is using the internet or maybe the technology that is actually being used on the internet. Make sure you don't get distracted while listening to this episode. It's actually a very interesting and powerful conversation. You shouldn't miss for anything whatsoever, unless you actually do not care about your rights and your safety online.
Yes. Okay, right. So let's get into the conversation. First, let's unravel common ethical issues with technology. For those who are in the dark about what it means, ethical issues in technology refer to the moral dilemmas that arise when technology is used in ways that may cause harm or violate social norms and values. And we are looking at 4 of them.
Okay, the first ethical issue we will consider will be privacy issue. Whatever we do online, whether we are buying something online or we are signing up for events or we are just visiting a website, we are consistently giving away our personal information such as our email addresses, our phone numbers, our location, company, job title, etc. We are actually giving out a huge bulk of information. Even when you open a website, when you visit a website, something like a little pop-up comes up on your screen, saying accept cookies or not. Most of us normally click on the accept without actually reading what we actually are accepting. For most of us that are not tech savvy, we may not actually know what it means. It's actually an important stuff that we need to understand what it's all about. Okay, now going to how safe the internet is. This question is actually a global issue now. Most organizations, most agencies, or most regulatory bodies are coming out to ask the question: how safe is our internet? How safe can we be? Businesses and organizations need our data for different purposes, especially for target advertisement. It's as if we are not actually private at all because, when all this information about you is being given out to them, it's just like nothing. You don't have anything to hide. They know your preferences, your browsing preferences. They know your wants. They know they understand almost everything about you every day. So it's as if we do not really have any form of privacy online. Privacy and misuse of information online actually a big global or big, let me say, a big global issue, as I said earlier. And individuals and organizations need to take responsibility in the manner of which personal data are being used. Another ethical issue that we need to consider is the biases in algorithm. Systems have the potential to reinforce prejudice and adversely affect particular group of people. Since algorithms are actually developed by people, they may be discriminated if the data used to train them is lacking or is skewed somewhere along the line. But because of these biases in algorithm, people may be treated unfairly because of their ethnicity, their gender, or their financial background. For instance, if the data used to train the algorithm solely contain information about male or white applicants. It may be discriminated towards employing women or people of color. So that's just what you really need to understand. The ethical development and application of algorithm is actually crucial as technology becomes more pervasive in our daily life. Specifically, this entails eliminating biases in the data used to train them and making sure that they do not perpetuate any form of discrimination or inequality.
Yeah, so another ethical issue that affects the use of technology that we should look at is cyberbullying, something that is very popular and continues to raise concern about how people treat each other online and how this technology are being used to actually harm others. Now, this act is outrightly wrong, of course, because it involves intentionally causing harm to another person using technology, and it's rampant on social media. Oftentimes, it leads to emotional distress, social isolation, and even physical harm. We've heard a lot of bad stories from the internet about cyberbullying. It violates basic principles of respect and empathy. Now, it's something that stakeholders and big tech companies who addition out new technologies every day need to take into consideration on how to actually tackle this, because technology continues to play an increasing role in our daily lives. It's something that we can say we can do without, right? It's a necessity in our daily lives, and it's important that we recognize the ethical implications of how we use it. As an individual and also as a stakeholder in technology, we need to take responsibility for our behavior online. We need to ensure that there is safety online than we can ever imagine or emphasize on this show. Next, let's look at the use of technology for surveillance and warfare. Sometimes technologies such as drones, surveillance cameras, or tracking software can be used to monitor individuals or groups, sometimes without their knowledge or consent. And of course, this infringes on their right to privacy, and it creates a culture of surveillance. Now, technology such as autonomous weapons or cyber attacks can cause harm or death to individuals, potentially without the need for human intervention. And it raises the questions about the ethical implications of delegating life and death decisions to machines. As stakeholders and as a business persons in the tech space, you're investing or part of those making the decisions of creating some of these tools, it is important to take into consideration the implications of the use of surveillance and these tools as a tool for warfare, right? So we must ensure not to violate human rights or cause harm to individuals as a result of the technologies that we consistently build and deploy out there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the ethical issues that affect AI being the mainstream tech right now, because whenever you go on LinkedIn, you'll be hearing about AI. You move to Twitter, AI everywhere. Everyone is actually talking about AI. So let's narrow down our discussion to ethical issues that affect AI right now. These are things that the last 10 years ago it wasn't possible, but right now it's actually rampant. It's what is actually in the system. AI powered decision making involves using machine learning algorithm to make decisions on various domains such as healthcare, finance, and law enforcement. However, there are several ethical considerations to be aware if you're actually investing in this technology or even as a user. These are actually top 5. The first one, let's look at bias and discrimination. I actually talked about this initially. AI system perpetuate or may amplify biases that is present in the data that are used to train on. These AI technologies or machine, all of them, they work on data that are being used to train them. And now, when this data actually, when they have some form of biases in this data, so now when these biases are actually present in the data, it will actually lead to unfair or discriminatory outcomes. Normally, just normal garbage in, garbage out. These systems are actually not created by machine; they're actually created by human. And human, consciously and unconsciously, we have biases. Some you may think to be harmless, some may be harmful, or no matter how you want to see it, but biases are biases. So it's actually inevitable for this technology not to have biases.
Yes, it's inevitable. Okay, so let's look at another ethical issues that affects AI-powered decision making, and that is lack of transparency. Now, it can be difficult to understand how AI systems make decisions, which can make it challenging to hold them accountable for their actions, right? Because this is a technology tool that is actually created by humans, and of course, you can't, if anything goes wrong, you can really hold it responsible for the negative outcome. So it becomes an issue. Who should we hold responsible when something goes wrong? Should we hold the machine? Should we hold the builders? Should we hold the promoters, the investors? And that becomes a lot of issues. So people in charge of creating these technologies need to be aware of this challenge and think ahead of time, anticipate some of the implications. Though they cannot predict the future, they can't tell what will happen or will not, but they can anticipate certain things that could go wrong and try to provide a certain framework that ensures that they can trace or they can hold a specific person or tool responsible for whatever goes wrong. So there is need for transparency in the system. AI systems, they work on their own based on what has been imputed into them, and therefore it's really, really hard to hold them responsible, accountable for whatever happens or whatever they're put out there. They are just machines working based on human order. Like what you hear so far? Make sure not to miss any of our episodes by subscribing to us now and joining our community on Telegram at t.me/technoshow. Now back to the show. So another ethical issue that affects AI is privacy and surveillance. We mentioned privacy earlier as well as one of the general ethical issues that affects all types of technology. So we are looking at AI-powered decision making now. And this involves collecting and processing large amounts of personal data, raising concerns about privacy and surveillance. Now, so privacy issues also stem from facial recognition, health tracking tools, neurotechnology, and genetic engineering. Like, there are a lot of these emerging technologies, and they are coming with their full bag of privacy issues and surveillance. Because, I mean, if there is facial recognition tool, it definitely gets access to several other data from individual. And this is something companies and innovators need to put into consideration when they are putting out these particular tools.
The issue of the impact on jobs, on human jobs. When ChatGPT first came out last year, a lot of people were shouting, AI is coming, actually, ChatGPT is coming to take our jobs, AI is coming to take our jobs and the rest. So we need to discuss the impact on, human jobs. AI-powered automation could actually displace human jobs. We need to understand that one. That's actually a basic fact. It can actually displace human workers. It's actually also widen the existing inequality in the workforce. Although it's actually not the intention of AI. AI is actually, it was created to make everything easier. But these are some of the side effects, so even some of the side effects we are facing right now in the whole system. AI is actually meant to, apart from making jobs easier, it's actually also meant to optimize low-level tasks so as to allow individuals to channel their efforts, resources, and strategy on more difficult types of projects. As much as some jobs are inevitably being displaced, AI is actually currently creating jobs and opportunities for more people. It's more like it's taking 1,000 jobs from some set of people. It's also creating 1,000 jobs for the other set. What you really need to do is just to understand how the system goes, understand the economy of the world, understand how the system is flowing, and now position yourself for it. In our previous episode, we talked about this. You should position yourself for the future of tech. I don't know, maybe we did that episode, like it should be last year or something like that. So talked about it. So AI is actually a two-edged sword. So it can actually, it's giving a lot. Let me not say it can. Let me not say it can. It's actually giving a lot of people jobs, at the same time taking a lot of jobs from some people. Another issue we need to look at too, in terms of the ethical issue with AI-powered decision making, is in terms of human oversight and accountability. There's a need for human oversight and accountability in the system, to ensure that they align with ethical and moral principle. Otherwise, we are in a bigger mess than we can ever imagine.
Yes, and we don't want to stay in that mess. So let's look at how to deal with some of these ethical issues, because it's important for individuals and organizations to be aware of potential ethical implications of their actions and decisions when using or deploying technology. Because Because ethics in technology is all about building a fair moral relationship between users and technology. And companies are highly demanded to be responsible for all this. So let's look at a few practices they can adopt. First, it's important that you're constantly educating yourself and others about ethical issues in technology and how they can impact society. That way, you are not uninformed, you are not ignorant of what needs to be done or on the harm that some of this technology could raise at the end of the day. Okay, so it's important to constantly educate yourself and then others to be sure that you are abreast with what needs to be done, the best actions to take, and how to mitigate all this. This way, you can help in tackling some of these ethical issues that may arise ahead of time before they do. Another practice to adopt is developing and adhering to ethical guidelines and standards that prioritize the well-being and safety of individuals and communities. Okay, as a business owner that is into technology, creation of all these tech tools, it's important you adhere to existing ethical guidelines, okay, because consumers should be your top priority and not just profit. Don't get so excited about the boom of AI and then you want to create an AI tool and you're not considering some of the impacts it could have on the society. So it's important you adhere to these tools so to avoid a lot of issues that may come alongside the technology you are creating.
Okay, let's also consider this, adopting a regular assessment and audit to identify potential ethical issues and take steps to mitigate them. It is actually one of the ways that we can actually deal with this issue of this ethical issue in AI and technology. Having, regular risk assessments, understanding what is actually going on in the system. Systems actually, whenever system is being built, the first version, V1 is always with a lot of errors and errors. But constant development due to risk assessment and audit actually makes the system to be better. I feel that we still have a long way to go technology-wise. So we can, and even in AI-wise too. So we can actually, retrain most of the system. We can actually make most of the system better by conducting regular assessment of the system. Looking at making audits, because the audits most times that most companies do now is usually security audits. But if you look at ethical audit, you can also make audits for ethical issues too, for not just for security issues. This way, we can actually ensure that the whole ethical issue in our own system, in our tech space, is actually brought to the barest minimum. Another thing we can also try doing is creating open and transparent communication channel to encourage dialogue and feedback on ethical issues relating to technology. Although a lot of agencies and organizations out there are actually trying their best, but a lot needs to be done in this aspect. We still really need an open channel, a very open channel to where people can actually voice out their grievances in this issue that is bordering on ethical issues and privacy issues. So another stuff we can actually consider too is building a culture of accountability and responsibility where individuals and organizations are held responsible for their actions and decisions when using technology. So I read an article some weeks ago where almost all the big companies in the world have actually had issues with privacy, had issues with data management, had issues with data breach and the rest. So if we actually make this a norm, build a culture of accountability, transparency, and responsibility around this, we can actually make sure that everyone using technology or everyone that is making use, both at the user end and at the organizational end, we can actually set up a system that everyone is accountable for what he or she does online. And it's not just accountable. If you default or maybe go against the laid down rules or regulation, you'll be heavily fined, if not, let me say, punished also in the system.
That's right. Okay, so we've looked at 5 of the ethical issues that affects AI, and we also looked at 4 ethical issues that affect technology of all types. So that's like 9. A few of them are just like repetition, but they are also relevant, okay, to mention. Technology can solve problems as well as create problems. Now, understanding the limit and to what extent we empower it is integral to having a safe environment in our increasingly digital world. So individuals and organizations can work towards ensuring that technology is used in ways that align with ethical values and promote the common good. Some ethical considerations surrounding the use of technology we should always be aware of include ensuring fairness, accountability, accountability and transparency, avoiding harm and unintended consequences, respecting privacy and autonomy, and promoting social responsibility and human values. Not forgetting fair use of personal data, culture of responsibility, and proper governance in usage of technology. Now, with these at our fingertips, we can safely say you are practicing ethical tech. Now, industry stakeholders should ensure they adhere to these that we have mentioned here, and it's going to be a win-win. Now, so that's it for this particular topic. Please ensure that you drop in the comments. We always put a message link right there. Drop us a message on what your thoughts are on this particular topic. We'll love to hear your feedback on some of these ethical issues that affect technology, and then also what you feel that stakeholders can do to mitigate some of these issues. All right. And till next week, ensure to always stay informed on tech trends and follow us on all social media. Thanks for being a part of today's conversation on The TechNats Show. Do follow us on social media at The TechNats Show. Join our growing tech community on Telegram at TechNats Show so you'll never miss any updates. If you find our content valuable, would love you to drop us comments or likes, or you could share it with your friends too. Catch you next week.